I am 60 years old, and I think because I have attained this age that I'm entitled to give you a bit of my idea of the philosophy of these kinds of cases and how they should be handled. Boy, what a lead-in. When he got through, I got up and I said, gentlemen, I'm only 58, and so I'm going to tell you about my client's side of this case and the facts that relate to it. Thanks, Leon. Now, what should a young lawyer, I think in the cheat sheet they gave us ahead of time, it said 10 years of experience. But it doesn't matter. Any practicing lawyer, particularly I think the 10-year practice is sort of a criteria. I think what you need to do, if you haven't really found yourself by that point, you need to do some soul searching. By the time you are 10 years into the practice, if you're not happy every day with what you're getting up and doing, then you better be doing something different, because when you've been there 20 and 30 and 40 years, those days get kind of dismal if you're continuing to do something that you don't thoroughly enjoy with people that you thoroughly enjoy. So one of my recommendations would be to find a niche, something that fits you, whether it be a type of practice or a different setting. If you're not happy, think about house counsel. Think about some other type of legal job than the active practice. I know in the waning years of my active practice, it was so far different from what I had when I started and the things that I had to put up with that I didn't have to put up with 20 or 30 years before. To me, one of the most difficult things was the adversarial situation between you and your client. It got to a point that every new client, you looked at him as your next enemy if the case didn't go well. And this was not the feeling you had about cases and clients back early on. So I think you need to do some soul searching somewhere in that 10, 15-year period of practice and decide if this is where you want to spend the next 20 or 30 years.
Okay. Let me run for a minute over to Jim Russ. We've got 5 minutes, so I'm going to give you each 2, and Leon 1, which he'll stretch to 2. So, Jim, same question. What advice would you give to a young lawyer or a 10-year lawyer to improve what they're doing and to move through this practice successfully as you've done?
Well, picking up on what Charlie said, I think you have to have that in your heart and soul that you want to make the world better. You want to make life for the people of this community better, that you want a fair, more just and peaceful and civilized society in which to live and raise your children and your grandchildren. And this is a profession. This is not a business. You're not in this to make money. If you're smart enough to get through law school, you can make a hell of a lot more money out there in the commercial world than you can generally, at least in the criminal field, as a lawyer. So it's got to be devotion rather than compensation, and to that extent, that means a lot of hard work. That means a lot of weekends away from your spouse and the kids. That means a lot of stress at points of time, but that's what it takes. It takes devotion, and it takes commitment, and it takes the willingness to do the very, very best that you can, and still sometime lose to the point that you just go home with your hat in your hand.
Let me turn to Russell for a minute so we don't run out of time, if I can, Jim. Russell, 2 minutes.
Here's what I'll give the young lawyer the same advice that was given to me many years ago by one of my partners, Charles Davis. And that is, the best investment you can make is in people. Not in the stock market so much, but in people. Because that's what we're dealing with. And I'm reminded of the old sage that said, I only pass this way once. So if there's any deed I can do that will help others, or any kind thing I can say that will help others, let it happen now, because I only pass this way once. And that's the way the young lawyer should start. Clarence Darrow said that he got started by getting active in baseball. He was a baseball player in his little town, and so he played baseball. So get active in the community and invest in people.
Leon, you've always wanted the rebuttal argument, which you never got as a defense lawyer, so your chance.
Thank you very much. I do like this question. because I've made a speech, I guess, at least 100 times. I only have one speech. I just changed the title. And the essence of it is the joy is in the journey. And a little vignette was written by a man named Robert J. Hastings called The Station. Remember that. Write it on the inside of your forehead. The Station by Robert J. Hastings. I want everyone to go back to their offices and pull it up on the internet. The essence of it is that life is a journey. The word picture is you're on a train and it's going a long trip and you're waiting for the station. When I get to the station, everything's going to be wonderful. When I get married, when I get to be a partner, when I get the mortgage paid off, when I get the last kid out of college, then everything will be wonderful. Flags will be flying, bands playing. I'll be happy. All the parts will come together. But the point is you never get to the station. Life is a journey. That journey is a series of nows. If you aren't enjoying your life now, then you're not going to enjoy life. And the essence of it is to enjoy what you're doing. Do what you enjoy or enjoy what you're doing. You get to the same place. So as Charlie said, and Russell and Jim, if you're not happy, if you're not doing the job you want to do something else. But remember that life is not a destination, it is a journey. And fear of tomorrow and the regret of yesterday are the two thieves that will rob you of the joy of today. So I envy you so much. My future's behind me. But I envy you so much because you have a wonderful life ahead of you in this marvelous profession. There's absolutely nothing like the practice of law. And I encourage you to enjoy it, to live it to the fullest, to accept the challenges, the agony and the ecstasy of winning and the agony of defeat. My God, I've lost so many cases.
And we'll stop on that point.
We could bestow more awards and more plaques for their offices and their homes, but we thought it fitting to just thank them once again for their service. We are adjourned almost on time, 1 minute over, so thank you again. Thank you for our moderator, and thanks for coming. We'll see you in January of next year.